they'll be with it, Sydney.
So half an hour of football left for the Swans to regain some of, well, some credit from the game. Jared Healy's kick to the forward line is punched out of defence. Eccleston couldn't quite gather. It spills to Charles, who delivers well for a big man. It's a beautiful kick to Mark Williams on centre wing. Short pass, the leading Hawkins from the pocket. He's taken some marks since he's gone down there in the second half. Hardly had a touch in the first half of the game. Back to Colin, who's cornered. He drew play as well. McGuinness. Healy's back in the back pocket. Oh, what a good mark! Well, Healy looked as though he had his name written all over that to punch it out of bounds, but Mark Williams snaffled it off him.
He's done well today, Mark Williams. One of those players that doesn't see a lot of pats on the back, but he's a solid performer. He's there just about every week.
Well, if he's there to kick goals, he's kicked 3 last week and 2 so far this week, which is not a bad effort so far.
Distance, no problem. Accuracy vital. Oh, it's a beautiful kick.
No.
It just gets away and hits the post. And it left the boot. I thought that was right through. So maybe the Swans still a chance. I think a goal then would have buried them if they're not already dead and buried.
Well, I guess we have to be a little bit optimistic, but it's a big job in front of them. The kick in by Neagle. Colin in front of Higgins. Defensively, West. Hand pass over the top. Colin Ball runs free. Terry Wallace goes back to Liberatore. Liberatore's little right foot pass into the pocket. And a great mark over the top by Grant. Short pass in towards centre half forward. Atkins gathers. Dispossessed. Atkins still has the ball. Umpire will call for a bounce. Only 20 metres out from the Footscray goal, directly in front. So the Swans, the desperation stakes are on now for the Swans. They trail by 8 goals exactly. Foster. Atkins dispossessed. Healy in there. Tunbridge gets the ball out. Oh, Williams misses a mark there. You'd hardly ever see that. Picked up quickly by McGuinness. McGuinness, high ball. The centre half forward, marking contest, punched away. Rebound footy now for the Swans. Gerard Healy's kick, out wide. 2-on-1, great mark taken by Reynolds. Reynolds puts Footscray back into attack and kicks it short to Hawkins, who marks outside 50 metres.
He hasn't had too many possessions, Reynolds, but what he has done has really brought him under notice. That was a good pass to Hawkins.
So Doug Hawkins doesn't really give himself a chance. The short pass to McGuinness, though. He's about...
In actual fact, McGuinness is in a worse position than what Hawkins was.
The angle is tighter, yes, Don, but
not much closer.
Just a little closer. And he did kick a goal. Must have been in the second term from about that distance. Usually a pretty good kick, Tony McGuinness. This is no exception. Right into the goal square. Nearly a Footscray mark to be at the back there to Foster, but it's hurried over the line for a rush behind to the Bulldogs. So now the Swans trail by 8 goals won, 15-16 to 7-15.
Eagles kick in, straight up the middle. The Swans need to do things in a hurry. They're being beaten in numbers to the ball, but here Mitchell gains possession, wide to Murphy, dodging and weaving David Murphy. Well, he finds Healy about 20 metres in the clear. Long kick by Jared Healy. Fripp is there. And out of defence well through Stanfield. But his hand passes wide, out of bounds, just outside the 50. That's pretty safe for Footscray.
Where they're falling down is the fact that Fell's not holding the ball. They're not getting fellows down around Fell, especially deep in that forward line to gather the crumbs, the Swans.
Line, clean possession. And he's had a big influence in the second half. Steve Wallace on to Williams, now to McGuinness. Wide to Liberatore, out of bounds, and we'll have a throw in at half forward for the Bulldogs. 49 points the difference. Swans got back against Carlton last week after trailing by about 50, but there's not as much time left today.
Punch by Foster. Neil Cordy. Handball to Higgins. Williams. Left foot kick towards the wing. Murphy pushed out of it by Colin And another boundary throw-in. I don't think Footscray could care less how many boundary throw-ins they have in this last term. They lead by 49 points. Wind again, successfully doing the ruck work, and Wright kicks it over the boundary line. We've got just under 20 minutes left in the term. And so far, the Swans have not added to their three-quarter time score. Wind again. Williams. Hand pass over the top. Intercepted by Hogg. Ball runs free. West. Colin-Nuke's there for the Bulldogs. The kick off the side of Colin-Nuke's left foot. Good gather by Hawkins. Coming back into some form. Dougie Hawkins could score from here. Drop punt kick is there. Bulldogs nail in the coffin.
Wind uncontested. Steve Wallace's kick not too good. Potter back on for the Swans out of the middle.
Oh, good mark. Great mark.
Difficult, running in the same direction as the ball, and Barry Mitchell never took his eyes off the ball, so he must have had eyes in the back of his head. Big day, 30 possessions. This could bother him for distance. Wind is there and takes the mark. Has had a big game off to Charles. And chipping in front is Toohey. Bernard Toohey. Very quiet. 50 metres out from goal. Goes for the short pass.
Not too long.
That gave Tunbridge no real chance. Footscray out of defence. Up towards centre wing. Hawkins again. He's lifted immeasurably after half-time. Atkins try to get it back to Hawkins. Cameron's in there. Battling with Neagle for it. And that will be a baller.
So the ball up to take place just wide of the centre. And the Swans, I think they could probably have a real good look at the video of this match to look at how not to play Australian rules football. Liberatore, he's lifted his game. All Footscray players in the second half have been tremendous. Up towards the front of the goals. McGuinness back onto the right. Atkins finds space. Simon Atkins from 40 metres. Misses to the right. And Foster in the goal square. Very disappointed. The Bulldogs 16-17. Sydney 7-15. And that looked as though it may have been Charles on the bench. Pretty excited about what was happening. Mitchell. Kick by Mitchell. Up towards half forward. High over the top was Wigney. Desperate stuff by Reynolds to keep the ball in at half forward, and the umpire will come in and bounce. Keenan Reynolds, the ex-Essendon player. Pretty rough-looking character. You wouldn't want to run into him in a dark alley. Umpire asking for a little bit of space from the ruckman. Wind. Reynolds. Good play. Footscray come clear again. Williams can't mark. Foster's the chance. He's got Hawkins in support. He goes for the kick. Hawkins is still there, sweating on this ball. Grant around onto the left foot. Oh dear. Missed badly. That's Footscray's 18th behind on the scoreboard. 16-18 plays 7-15, and the time left 16 3/4 minutes.
Very light drizzle falling at the SCG at the moment, which won't help the Swans' cause. Straight up the centre they need to go. Terry Wallace, Steve Wallace. Standing start, left footer, down towards the pocket. Hawkins there again. Right, punches away. Colin-Nuke first to this. Oh, beautifully done. Centering kick. Any one of two players there, Liberatore or McGuinness. Back out wide to Colin-Nuke. He's got Hawkins even wider. And as the clock ticks down to under 16.5 minutes, you won't mind taking a bit of time on this. Good lead by Williams, and another mark.
Footscray starting to play with the Sydney Swans. It's always a sign when you start chipping the ball away around in this arrogant fashion that you are in control of the situation.
Difficult shot for goal for Mark Williams, looking for number 3. Out of bounds on the full.
Mark Williams in the picture there. He's kicked 2 goals this afternoon. Footscray 16-18, Swans 7-15, and the Swans since half-time have been terrible. At half-time they only trailed by a couple of goals, but Footscray kicked the first 3 goals in the third term and took control of the match. Wind, Steve Wallace, up towards full forward goes Wallace. High flyer from the side. Williams couldn't take the mark, and the umpire calls for another bounce. The bounce will take place about 25 metres out from the Footscray goal. They have not even looked like mounting anything, the Swans, even in the 10 minutes or so that we've played in this last quarter. Now the hand pass comes out from Healy to Higgins. Higgins is at half back, looking to put the Swans into attack. The pass is pretty good and finds Bays, defensive side of centre wing. Mark Bays transferred to centre half forward in the second half. Kick up towards the half forward area. Good punch by Stanfield. Williams is on the end of it. The kick by Williams into the centre. And the mark has been taken by West. West now. Long kick towards full forward. No mark taken. Thripp has pushed off the ball. Desperate stuff by the Footscray defence. Kennedy and Eccleston combined with Stanfield. And Bulldogs out of trouble. The kick towards Terry Wallace. He ducks the tackle around the neck. No, holding the ball.
Dropping the ball.
Well, he was 45 metres from it, the umpire, but there you go. Williams takes the hand pass and plays on quickly. Williams kick towards centre half forward. Again, no mark taken. Footscray have the crumb gatherers. This time it's Leon Cameron, who's played a tremendous game in his debut. Tony McGuinness. The short pass is on. Liberatore will run up within 50 metres and shoot goal. Tony Liberatore does goal. He kicks his third, and Footscray go further ahead.
Sydney still scoreless in this last quarter. Footscray have added 2 more goals, and they're going further away, which is important because after last weekend, Footscray's percentage was a miserable 56. And so they're getting a percentage booster here, especially with Sydney's score being so low. So after 2 rounds, they might be back up near 1-1 with 100%. So they're right back in it. Stevie Wright loses control of it. Cameron impressive. Potter, bit slow. Craig Potter. Bolton bounces the ball to full forward. Fell kicked 1 goal only in the second quarter. Back he goes. Shot by Tui is offline.
They can't do anything right, the Swans. They cannot do a thing right. He's been very quiet today, Bernard Tui. He's got a lot of mates.
If you reckon the players bet on football, you'd say the Swans have backed the Bulldogs, wouldn't you? Stanfield's kick in towards half-back. Marcus taken by Wine. Wine gets the hand pass off. McGuinness. McGuinness's beautiful left foot kick is immaculate as usual and finds Wigney just between wing and half forward. Wigney will kick the Bulldogs to within goal scoring distance up towards that 50-metre line. Foster can't mark. Hawkins tries to flip it over to the advantage of Atkins. Atkins gets the hand pass to Liberatore. Off to Stephen Wallace. Stephen Wallace into the full forward area. Grant can't control it. He goes back after it again. Gathers. Carter. Grant on the bottom of the pack. Over the top of Stevie Wright. And the umpire quickly on the scene to bounce the ball about 25 to 30 metres from the Footscray goal. There's young Kelly on the interchange bench for the Swans, preparing to come back onto the field. Foster held when he did not have any control of the football. Play goes on. Stevie Wright looks for the safety of the boundary line with that little kick. We'll have a boundary throw in.
Takes a courageous umpire to give a decision in front of goal, but I thought on that occasion maybe Foster could have got the free kick for over the shoulder by Tunbridge.
Tunbridge does the ruck work. On the bottom of it, Neagle struggling. Footscray again. Stephen Wallace can't break clear of that tackle. Umpire will come in and bounce once again.
Rain getting a little bit heavier in the closing stages of the game, just under 11.5 minutes remaining, and the crowd starting to file out. 11,051 here today at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Kick wide. Wind pushed into the fence, but he'll get the free kick. Goes with the hand pass back to Cameron. What a debut by Leon Cameron. Terry Wallace hoists it high to centre half forward. Up early was Grant, couldn't take the mark. Hawkins has fought hard in the second half. Colin gets the hand pass wide to Williams. Mark Williams goes for goal. Misses to the right. And once again, he should have kicked it. And Footscray next week play the West Coast Eagles at the Western Oval. And after the Eagles' dismal display when they came over to Melbourne this weekend, Footscray would be a big chance to be 2-1 after 3 rounds. Who would have thought that after their thrashing last week?
Well, I think justifiably the rain is starting to pelt down. The crowd is starting to leave the Sydney cricket ground, and the Swans are being buried in the middle of it. The kick in towards centre-half back. Healy gathers pretty well. Gets the hand pass out in favour of Mitchell. Mitchell's hand pass finds Toohey. Toohey's kick up towards full forward. At the back, the punch by Kennedy. Williams swoops on it. Greg Williams. Could this be goal number 4? It is. A great kick by Williams.
10 minutes of the match remaining. 121 to 64. Kelly, who spent most of the game on the bench. Paul Kelly. Stanfield.
Been very solid for a youngster too, only 18 years of old, 18 years of age, Stanfield, but putting himself well in that back pocket.
Great pickup by Williams. The hand pass back to Cameron once again. Kick inside 50, a chance here for McGuinness if he can keep it in, but he soccers it out on the full and gives away the free. Well, they're looking pretty bedraggled, all the players now, with the rain falling at the Sydney Cricket Ground. But what a day it's been for Footscray. Almost the Fitzroy Bulldogs 6 months ago. Came up here with given no chance by anybody. Never won in Sydney before, and they're going to win reserves and seniors. Colin off the ground. Wide towards the wing. Colin still after it. And he's caught by Kelly, holding the ball.
A little too ambitious on that occasion, Colin. Thought he could get around Kelly. A good effort by Kelly.
He's rough and ready, Stephen Colin, but I think his spirit has typified Footscray's performance this afternoon. They've had a real go at the Swans, and the Swans have struggled all the afternoon. Bulldogs will come back into attack now through Wallace. Sweeping hand pass gives Wigney a lot of space across half back. He runs it towards the centre. Left foot kick by Wigney up over the 50-metre line. Wheeler punches the ball away for the Swans. Out wide, Murphy and Cameron. Cameron, who's played a tremendous game. Murphy, desperation stakes. Taps it out wide for Higgins. Chipping in as Hawkins. Kick off the ground, a little too far. Neagle gathers, gets the hand pass to Parsons. Back to Neagle, on to Wright. Wright is well caught by Liberatore. Murphy, hand pass wide, Healy. Parsons. The Swans eventually get the kick up towards half forward. No mark taken. Reynolds not favoured by the bounce. Potter. Now the Bulldogs get clear through Eccleston. Eccleston's kick in towards the centre. Williams can't mark. Punched away by Cordy. Parsons and Neagle. Neagle's sweeping hand pass to Murphy. Murphy's kick up towards the 50-metre line. The Swans mark taken by Toohey. Near ironical cheers from the Swans supporters, because I think they felt that this was a certain 4 premiership points, and they have played poorly since half-time. At half-time, they had 7-15 on the scoreboard. They now have 8-16. Toohey's kick for goal looks pretty good from here. It's a goal. Too many players in the centre square for the Swans, so the free kick to go to Footscray, taken by Charles. Charles kicks towards the half-forward area. Carter, beaten for pace by Williams. Goes after it again, Mark Williams, outnumbered this time. Wheeler picks the ball up. Slippery now after the rain that has fallen. The kick in towards the centre. Punched away by the Footscray player there. Now Liberatore goes after it. McGuinness somehow gets out of trouble. Kick wide will find Atkins 45 metres from goal on a 45-degree angle. Simon Atkins, who started on the interchange bench. Has kicked 1 goal 1. The drop punt kick goes across the face.
Oh, Clark.
Grey mark. That's Hawkins again.
I wonder how he was feeling at half-time. He'd gone 6 quarters of football and hardly had a touch, but what a second half.
He kicks the goal. Well, Hawkins kicks his third, and in a second half revival for him personally, he will see his Bulldogs win here at the Sydney Cricket Ground for the first time ever.
And this is a good mark from the little fella from behind. But what I was more impressed about, that's the way you've got to do it. And because he is very good at either left or right foot kicking, Hawkins could afford to run onto that left foot with confidence. And that's why you need to practice skills on both sides of your body, because sometimes you might need it. And Hawkins showed the benefit of it on that occasion.
Under 6 minutes left. Greg Williams, great little hand pass to his partner in crime, Healy. Long kick for goal offline. Out of bounds on the bounce for a throw in the forward pocket. Greg Williams, 4 goals, leading goal scorer for the Swans. Nobody else has kicked more than 1 for them. And 4 goals for Footscray to Grant, 3 to Liberatore, 3 to Hawkins, and 3 to McGuinness. Out of defence by Kennedy, but a mark to Greg Williams. He centres, too high for Parsons, but the mark is taken there by Potter.
He always finds his mark, Williams, doesn't he?
Craig Potter going for goal from just outside 40. Fair bit of bench time today. Good kick. And a goal.
Well, a little bit of respectability coming onto the scoreboard as we see there. Footscray still way out in front. 18-9-127. And Sydney, their 10th goal. Long time coming, 10-16-76. Set up by Greg Williams, who spotted Potter at centre-half forward. A great kick into that position. A quiet day by Potter. He's come off the bench. He's first.
Just under 5 minutes left in the game. 3 goals each in the last quarter. Swans and Footscray. Williams out of the middle. Here's Steve Wallace, ducking his head. Caught in Wright's tackle. Might have been holding it, but the umpire said, I'll ball it up. We're going to have a pretty interesting league ladder at the end of tonight. 3 teams will have been undefeated. 3 teams only have lost twice. And in the middle, 8 teams won 1 and lost 1.
Great evenness forming in the AFL. Hogg kicks the Bulldogs up towards centre-half forward. Wheeler could have marked. Great punch on there by Neagle. Back towards the centre. Potter can't control it. Tries to move the ball on. Now gets it out. But Stephen Wallace gets the hand pass out to young Cameron. Over the top to McGuinness, who's knocked up getting possessions. Atkins, another one to McGuinness. No, the Atkins hand pass was astray. Chipping in Georgiadis. Kick off the ground by the Swans defence out wide. Cameron will get another possession. What a great debut. Hand pass goes further forward. Atkins. Back it goes to Cameron. Slips through the youngster's hands, but he's able to recover and gets it off to Hogg. Matthew Hogg now round onto the right foot. The kick up towards full forward. Brilliant roving by Kolonyuk in the forward line, and Kolonyuk kicks another Footscray goal.
And featuring in that play was Leon Cameron again. He'd be about 40 possessions in his first game of football, and it'd be hard to remember the last time that happened. Might have to go back to somebody like Hayden Bunt, perhaps. In there is Steve Wallace. Merv Neagle. Battles backwards. Healy. Chance here for Potter, just outside 50. His last kick was a good one for a goal, but he finds Greg Williams, who drifts into the space and will line up for his 5th goal. Won't quite make it. Big climb by Thripp and punched through by Stanfield for a behind. Under 3 minutes left in the game. Greg Williams looking frustrated. 10-17, but it was the second quarter which killed them. They kicked 1 goal 8 in the second term.
Rick Kennedy short pass finds Eppelston, and one wonders whether that covered the required distance. It only went about 12 metres. Eppelston's kick though goes about 72 metres out to the wing. Nearly a mark to Reynolds. Neagle, the player at the back. Umpire calls for a bounce. Peter Foster looking pretty pleased with himself, as is Scott Wynn on the Footscray bench. The Bulldogs will have a wonderful trip home from Sydney. First time ever. Terry Wallace. Handball out to Cameron. Cameron's kick up towards half-forward. Stephen Wallace, courage. Great mark. Yes, Don, you like that sort of stuff, don't you? Stephen Wallace, the kick in towards half forward. Footscray mark. Great lead again by this young fellow, Chris Grant. He's kicked 4 goals, 3.
Just over the 190 centimetre mark, this fellow, and he has got a lot of ability. Very quick, very athletic, and jump up. But he's certainly going to receive a lot more attention because everyone would have seen him now and see what he's capable of doing.
Kick a little short, helped through by Wheeler from the front of the pack and behind the Bulldogs. The Footscray score goes on to 19-20, Sydney 10-17. So that's 57 points the Swans lead, and it's a thrashing here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Neagle gets the pass into Williams. Williams looks further afield. He's got Gerard Healy in the centre. The hand pass coming from Potter was a little slow. Bulldogs get back into attack. Liberatore out wide to Cameron. Cameron's pass into the pocket is effective. Georgiadis, difficult angle. John Georgiadis, magnificent kick. Bulldogs 20th. Georgiadis kicks his first, and Footscray storming to a magnificent victory. They lead by 63 points.
Well, Georgiadis has had a very, very quiet day. He's been on the bench that is set up here by Cameron. A real promising debut this time last year. He kicked 9 goals, I think, or 7 goals against Carlton. But he only finished the season with 19. Started very, very well, but just didn't realise his full promise.
Under a minute left. Greg Williams out of the middle. Drives it long to full forward. And a mark to Terry Thripp.
Well, they haven't done that, have they, today, Sydney? Haven't got it out of the centre as cleanly as what they did on that occasion, and the benefit of getting it out and going straight down the centre on this ground. Now it's Thripp well within scoring distance.
And Thripp looking for his first score for the game. Makes it a behind only. Most disappointing. Footscray would be pleased with the fact they had 10 goal kickers. And Terry Wheeler's really turned things around in a week.
Yes, well, he was pretty worried after the game. He did call Bernie Quinlan into the selectors area straight after the game and spent a lot of time talking with his match committee last Sunday.
Colin takes the mark. Time running out. 18 seconds remaining in the game at the Sydney Cricket Ground. So the Swans have become a team wins away and loses at home. And Footscray, the same. Liberatore. Parsons one hand, not enough. Healy. Williams. Up to full forward. Time running out. The siren goes. And the Bulldogs have triumphed in Sydney for the first time ever. And a big scoreline for Footscray. 20 goals, 20, 140 to a very disappointing Sydney, 10-18, 78. So it was a real thumping in the end. And, well, early in the game, the Swans led by 2 points at quarter time. Footscray led by 12 at half-time, 47 points at three-quarter time, and they finished up winning by 62 points. The bedraggled-looking Swans leaving the ground, shaking heads, but look at the atmosphere in the Footscray camp.
Yes, and there's a young fellow in the middle there. I watched Tony McGuinness, one of the more experienced players in the Footscray lineup, and he singled out that young Cameron because what a great debut for a player in his first match. And Footscray will have a wonderful trip home. Great victory deserved by them.
Final scores again, 20-20 to 10-18.
Points, and Footscray deservedly so, particularly after half-time, Don, where they kicked the first 3 goals in the third quarter. Terry Wallace getting the ball out of the centre, and they went right on with it from there.
And what I'm impressed with, Ian, is as they're walking off the ground, we can see the Footscray supporters there. The team actually stopped and acknowledged their supporters as a whole, and it was terrific to see. They're a small band up here, but they've certainly got the feeling for the team. And there's Greg Appleston. Good to see him start to be an attacking player. But I thought, in all due respect to Footscray, that Sydney lost the game. And we mentioned at quarter time, the game was there, but nobody really did want to go on with it. There was just no urgency at all about the game, and Sydney, well, they were very haphazard. They really never got into overdrive or even top gear until maybe the last part of the last quarter. Then they could show a little bit of what they could do. But by that stage, they'd given Footscray too much of a leadway. And in today's football, you cannot afford to give a leeway to these players because the skill level is not all that great between the top and bottom side. Give them a sniff of the ball, they gain confidence, they'll cut you to pieces. This is a great kick by Hawkins.
And Dougie Hawkins, who started on the wing but was had to lower his colours there, finished up kicking 3 goals up in the full forward area. I thought Chris Grant was a player that they could certainly, last week he kicked 3 goals and perhaps didn't quite get the distance on a few occasions, but they've got some very good young players, haven't they?
Yeah, my word. Take into account Barry Stanfield in the back pocket. Very good. We mentioned also Chris Grant. He was a good player. Cameron, another good player. Justin Charles. Scott Wine, he's only young. He came in for his first game. And your Wigney, who made a couple of mistakes off the half-back line. And looking quickly at the stats, they should just about all favour Footscray. Kicks do, but handball's reasonably even.
What a big difference there in the kicks, Don. What's that, 62 more kicks to Footscray. They eventually caught up with the hand passes. Sydney led with the hand passes for most of the day. And then Footscray obviously maybe chipping it around. Does that indicate the marking superiority there? And the free kick certainly favouring the Swans.
Well, there's a definite correlation between those, the kicks and the marks. But I also want to mention one other little fellow we didn't mention. He deserves a rap, and that's Keenan Reynolds from Essendon. I was very impressed with him too, and they've got some good young players. Just let's hope. The problem with young players is a lack of consistency. You know, they go up one week, down the next. If they can be consistent, they certainly have got not a show, but they'll perform well. And
while we're handing out credits, I think we should perhaps hand out a credit to the coaching staff. Terry Wheeler, last Sunday at 5 o'clock, had the longest face I've ever seen on a man, and he did call his troops together and had a very long conversation in the coach's box. And it must have been a lot of work done during the week to try and get these guys to start thinking positively. And as I said, they'll have a wonderful trip home tonight.